I don't wanna waste my time. So baby, we should start living now.
Hello, hello. Happy New Year. We're back. Thanks, first of all, to everyone who celebrated the release of Muffin But the Truth with us on the last live, which after the fact, we realized there was that terrible, mysterious buzzing. And I can't believe that you stuck through the whole live. Poor tech guy too, right?
There's no buzzing tonight.
No, that was because of the hotel.
I've got my monitor in, so yeah, I'm like, it's like really weird listening to you 30 seconds behind you over here.
Oh, that's hilarious. How has the new year been for everyone? Yes, it is extremely wet in California. I joked last time about how I have been claiming responsibility for California getting so much rain, and now all of my neighbors and friends in California are very angry because it's too much rain. It's just too much rain. It's great, I think, in terms of the drought, but obviously there has been some intense flooding and mudslides and all of the things. And there's more on the way. So, yeah. Lenny, you will stick. Dude, that's so sweet of you to stick through it, but like, don't suffer through it either, right? It's not worth it. It's definitely not worth it. Taylin, oh, thanks. I got this.
There are a lot of people have made this comment.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, I couldn't keep up with all of them.
It's very like retro, but also not. I found this while we were in Ashland at, you guessed it, Paddington Station, the Jewel Box store. They always have the most amazing stuff. Tekka, do you know who the song is by? Beth Cole's asking. You're looking it up. He's looking it up. He's behind me. How has weather been for everyone else? I know that it's been super cold, obviously, on the East Coast, and then we had so much rain here. But yeah, it's nuts.
We should start right now.
We should start right now
by loving Caliber. Caliber.
Loving Caliber. Okay,
yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, it's great. I'm gonna have to add it to my Jules playlist. I'm working on editing a new book this week, so I'm still sort of in that headspace. I'm up on Mount Ashland with Jules and the crew and everything. But what I wanted to do tonight on our live is talk about, I'm going to share just like my number one book from 2022, which is hard to do because I feel like last year was a solid year of reading for me. It's been one of the best years in like recent history that I can remember. I did not have many misses for my TBR stack. I mean, I had some stuff I didn't get to, but I really enjoyed the bulk of what I read. There were a few. But I'm going to share my favorite read from last year, what I'm reading now, what's on my stack to come. I want to hear what you're reading because I always love adding suggestions. And I realized that I think one of the reasons last year was such a reading year for me is I just read a lot more. I think some of that was because Sky Guy was away at college, so I had a little more time. And I'm not disappointed by that at all. In fact, that's one of my goals for 2023 too, is to try to get through at least a couple books a week. I'm a fast reader, which means that I don't always retain everything, but I definitely love to read voraciously. So the other thing that I posted earlier in the day that I thought would be a good conversation starter is in thinking about reading, who was the person or maybe the people who ignited your love of reading. I shared this in my post earlier, but for me it was my mom, but it was lots of other people. It was my grandmother, it was librarians, Mrs. Heller, one of my first teachers at school, librarians, I think I said that. Like, there are so many people who just ignited my love from reading at an early age, and I'm so appreciative of that. And I read some of the comments on social before I popped on here, and I was so touched by some of the stories that you were sharing, like Anna Louise, if I can call you out, if it's okay, you were sharing that, reading for you was really a necessary escape from your home life, and that it was the library that became your safe haven. And now you're a librarian. I mean, I feel like full circle, that is the gift of reading for me. Lenny, you had the best Storytime librarian. Yes, Storytime, Scholastic Book Fairs came up. teachers, grandparents. Going to the library, I think, is just a core memory for my entire youth. And it's translated a little bit into bookstores as I've gotten older, but both. I still absolutely, of course, adore the library. And I just love that we have spaces like that. Your mom was an elementary reading teacher. Oh, reading teachers, of course, too. Your first take-home reader from school all afternoon, by dark, you were done. You couldn't put it down. I know, like once you start, Harry, it's all over. Like you just have to do it. I feel like the other gift of reading, and I was doing an interview for a magazine this weekend, and the reporter was asking me questions about kind of social and what it's like to be a writer on social media, because many years ago you didn't do that. You just showed up at a bookstore or library. And I think there's so much negativity, obviously, that people sometimes associate with being active and engaged like we are in this community in general. And I don't find that so much, because I am fully convinced that book people are the best people. And if you are a voracious reader, yeah, we're not putting that energy out there, right? Trisha, as someone who's dyslexic and had a hard time reading, yes, oh my gosh, yes, exactly. And now, same thing, it's like Anna Louise, like you've come full circle and now you're teaching. And I mean, I'm just so touched and humbled that for both of you, and I'm sure many other people out there, it's like you've taken that experience that you had at a young age and now are able to give that back to a whole new generation. Like, come on, that's goosebumps. Michelle, you fell in love with reading in 4th grade. That's amazing. Yeah, and isn't it the books too? Sometimes it's those books that stick with us that like are those stories that stay alive. Yeah. Lillian, this group was your sanity the last couple years. Absolutely. Me too. And I love that we've kept it going, and that those connections can really be real and authentic. So anyway, that's my little kickoff to the new year. All right, let's see. So for 2022, so many great reads. I did a post at the end of the year about some favorites that stick out. I loved Kim Fay's Love and Saffron. I really enjoyed Lessons in Chemistry. Like I could go on. The book that kept me up all night, it's a big one. Let me just look before I show you. It is 574 pages. I read this book in like 2 or 3 days because I could not put it down. It travels through multiple time periods. You're in the 15th century, then you're in like 2,000 years from now, and then you're in sort of modern day. And all of these storylines combined for just an exquisite read. And it was CloudCuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr. Did anyone read this book? Have you read Anthony's other work? I want to do a book club just to discuss this book because there is so much to unpack. And to be able to weave those storylines and plot points together and have them all be connected is just phenomenal, I think, from a writing perspective and from a reading perspective, that it held my attention, that I didn't see a lot of the twists coming that ended up in this story. And it's also one of those books that really I feel like is going to stick with me for a while. He raises, I don't want to give anything away because it's called CloudCuckoo Land. Can you see it with the glare there, Jerry? By Anthony Doerr. Michelle, you have a hold on it for the library. You are going to be delighted, I think, with this one. I mean, but it's a beast of the book, and it's not for everyone. I had a friend who read it who just could not get into it because it is a lot of time jumping. So if you're not a fan of that, it might not be the book for you. I love that in a book if it's well done. And yeah, it's just, it wasn't a light read, but it wasn't also like a gut-wrenching read. So to me, it was perfection. So if anyone's read this, let's chat privately because I have so much to say about it. This is my number one book of 2022. CloudCuckoo Land. Also that title, like everything about it. Okay, and then to kick off the new year, I always like to read something that's like slightly light and just fun after all of the holiday. You've got a hold on it too, Judy. Oh, you just put a hold on it. I love it. Go get a hold. Let's get this in the hands of more people. Okay, Anna Louise, I feel like as a librarian, I'm curious, like, I have a feeling you might be recommending that to a lot of readers. Anyway, I love to start off the new year with something slightly light and fun, just to sort of like, I don't know, get myself back in the headspace of being in a routine again. And I'm also, like I mentioned, editing book 18 of the Bake Shop Mysteries, which I'm delivering to my editor next week. So when I'm in editing space, I also need something that's just slightly light and fun. So my first book for 2023, I should have had you do drum rolls, tech guy, sorry, is, my bookmark's in the way, The Dead Romantics, oh, look at you, by Ashley Poston, Ashley. So fun. I'm devouring this book. It's great. The premise is that Florence is a ghostwriter. So, you already have me at that. She's a ghostwriter for a very famous romance novelist, and nobody knows that she's the ghostwriter. And something happens which brings her back home to her family home, and her family runs a mortuary. And in addition to being a ghostwriter, she also sees ghosts. And so a particular ghost shows up. I don't want to give away any spoilers for this one too. A particular ghost shows up who is teaching her a lot about love stories. At the beginning of the book, she's sort of burnt out and a little bit jaded about writing so many romance novels. As you can see, I'm a little less than halfway through. So I don't know how it's all going to end, but I am really, really, really enjoying it.
That looks like a great book. I wonder where you got it.
The tech guy picked this one out. What made you pick this one out? Oh, look at you. Right? You had me at ghost. Totally, yeah. Diane. Yeah. What made you pick it out?
It just sounded like something that you would like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, yeah. I'm loving it. Carrie, you're halfway through The Historian. Oh my gosh. That tech guy, I tell ya. I know, I'm sorry if your TBRs are going to grow tonight, but you'll get to them. It's not necessarily that there's a jump scare. It's that reading that book will make you feel like there are going to be jump scares in your own life. I did not read that one. I definitely did not. I know, Lillian, I'm not dog-earing my books right now. I know. I feel like I've been passing books on to a lot of people. That's been one of my, it's not a problem. I love sharing books, but there were a few books that I bought multiple copies of because I would send them to friends and be like, oh my gosh, like you need this. My dear friend Jen made these like handmade beautiful bookmarks many years ago, and I just love it. So it makes me think of her when I use the bookmark. And then, I always have bookstore bookmarks, like Beach Books. Hi, Beach Books. I know, guys. I know. I feel like I want a dog ear just because I'm using a bookmark. You're calling me out for using a bookmark. Come on. Anyway, I did dog ear one particular book that I gave to a friend. And she was like, I was trying to figure out, like, what in the world, like, you were looking for on those pages, or like what were the quotes? I'm like, no, I was just probably marking my place. So you have influenced me. I know, darn it. All right. Okay. So that's my, it is Valerie. You're right. Okay. I'm giving up the dog ears. I'm not though, because I also was reading this book in the bathtub the other day. So funny story. I was describing a character who has a library book bathtub problem. I wonder where I got that idea. Okay, so that's my current read. What's up next in my stack are two of my auto-buy authors. I'm curious to hear who your auto-buy authors are. These are authors that if they have a new book coming out, I just know 100% of the time I'm going to buy or get their book from the library. Okay. First up, are you ready? If we have the right one. Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Have you read anything by Taylor? I know I talked about The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Daisy Jones and the Six. Anything Taylor writes, I'm going to read. I'm going to grab it the minute it hits bookshelves. I just think she is so compelling when it comes to telling a story, building characters that you care about, especially characters who perhaps like I might not necessarily be fascinated by. Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo needs to be made into a movie. I've heard rumors that it's happening, so I hope so. I know that Daisy Jones and the Six is being made into a movie. Yeah, she's just, her writing is compelling, but it's also engaging, and she does such a good job about putting you in that character's world in such a way. This one is about tennis, a tennis champion who is trying to sort of rebuild her career and her brand. So I don't know anything about tennis. I have a couple good friends who are avid tennis players, but tennis is not necessarily like my go-to sport. So I have no idea what to expect, but I don't care because it's Taylor Jenkins Reid and I will read anything that Reid writes. So there you have it. Alexander McCall Smith, Joseph, Janet Ivanovich, yes. Oh, Regina, that's so sweet. Kara, I love her Royal Spinus. I buy those hands down. Kayla, Daisy Jones. I wondered what that would be like in audio. I bet it was phenomenal. I kind of want to go back and listen on audio now and just read it again. Seven Husbands, right?
I would agree
Christopher
with that.
Moore, yeah. Who else do we have? Laura Childs. Is Laura Childs... is she still doing the, it's not Cackalax, but it's like the Cackleberry Mysteries? Or did those stop? I'm curious because I haven't picked those up for a while, but yes. So many good ones. So many good ones. Okay, my second auto by author, and this will be next up. I don't know how I'll decide between the two, but my second one that I'm super excited about is The Bleeding Heart Yard by Ellie Griffiths. Ellie Griffiths, same thing, especially when it comes to suspense. Taylor Jenkins Reid is more about, putting you in a moment in time in the worldview of a particular character, and you're doing a deep dive on their sort of journey. Ellie is all about suspense and moody, dark places. There's always a mystery. I feel like she has a touch of dark academia to her, but they're not gory or super dark because, I'm a wimp. Yeah, The Stranger Diaries is one of my favorite books. This one is about a class reunion, which is going to bring people back together. I feel like for Ellie, it's almost always like some sort of school-based setting that she weaves in. Yeah. I cannot wait for this one. And, I feel like usually by the end of January, I'm feeling like I need a suspense. So I'm super, super excited. The Cackleberry Club has ended in the scrapbooking series, but the tea shop has 2 new books coming. Okay, thanks, Melmac. Yay. All right. Joseph, is there an Ellie name bond? No, I don't know her. I need to know her. I just need to start writing her fan mail because I absolutely adore everything that she writes. And where does she live? I'm not sure where. Oh, she lives in England, of course. She's British. Or maybe she's not. Maybe she's an expat living in England. They're set in England, so it makes sense. Yeah, can't wait for that. Her Postscript Murder, too. Has anybody else read anything by her? So great. Jen McKinley, J.D. Robbs, Avery Ames. Such good names. All good stuff. Avery Ames is also Daryl Wood Gerber. Love it. J.D. Robb writes under another pen name, too, that I am missing. Okay. Then the next 2 on my What's Coming Up reads. These are books that actually came out this past year, but basically everyone everywhere recommended them. Like any bookstore event that I would go to, any library talk, amongst my friends, you name it. These books came up again and again and again. So for the holidays, I just sent the tech guy a list of books that I wanted. And of course, you just bought them all.
And then added to it.
And then you did add to.
With my own.
With your own. You added some. Exactly. Which I'm not complaining about. Amy, you're a new reader. Will I post these? Yes. Yes, I will definitely list these. In fact, I'll try to take another picture of the stack and tell you where to go find them. Okay, so this came up so often. I have a feeling that a few of you may have already read it. It's a story about an octopus. Remarkably Bright Creatures. Can you see it?
Sorry.
By Shelby Van Pelt. It's literally a charming, beautiful, witty story all about an octopus. And there is not a single person who read this book who didn't fall on the floor like begging me to read it. So I'm excited to again enter the deep depths of the ocean with an octopus and see where the story takes me. Literally, the most that I know about this book is just that it's about an octopus. I mean, I read the flap, but I'm excited to go into it just based on so many recommendations. Sharon Redgrave, hey! Kate Carlisle, that's another great writer. I love Kate's Bibliophile series, and then she has her Fixer Upper series. So many books, so many times. I don't believe that it's sad from what I've heard from people who have read it, but we'll find out. Oh, Anna Louise, you've read it, and you say it's not sad. No, okay, good, yeah. Mel Mac, yes, exactly. They're such amazing, beautiful, brilliant creatures, and I know that there was a Netflix documentary. Was it a documentary or was it a movie about an octopus that I haven't seen? But I'm curious if anyone has seen it. Like, is it based on the book or is it its own thing? And octopi are just out in the world. They're like hot right now. I'm not sure. But I'm excited to read it. And it's also just such a beautiful cover. So that'll be sometime in the next month or so. Okay, and then the other book that came up so often with independent booksellers and librarians and friends is, I'm curious if anyone's read this, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Oh yeah, Kara, My Octopus Teacher, exactly. I'm curious if it's the same. So maybe it's not because it's a totally different title. Interesting. It's fascinating to me how when it comes to creative energy, that a lot of times the same sort of idea will bubble up to the surface in conjunction with something else that's slightly different, in a different voice, in a different tone, but maybe with a similar theme. Like, that doesn't surprise me at all. Sorry, I just saw one that I missed. No, it's a different book. Okay, yeah, Anna Louise says no, it's a different book. Oh, Melinda, hey Melinda, the show was a story about a guy who made friends with a wild octopus. Okay, yeah, so it's totally different. Okay, good. Well, I'm going to have to watch the show now too. Maybe I'll read the book first and then I'll watch the show. That would be the way to do it. Okay, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Again, this is another one that there was not a single person who had anything other than just gushing reviews to share about this book. Did anyone read The Storied Life of AJ, what was it? Phil, is it in here? AJ Phil Cray. I read that and super enjoyed it. And this one is based on two friends, apparently, who are video game designers, and they have this point of connection, and then they kind of keep coming back, and their lives cross in different ways. And that's just right up my alley. I mean, I feel like it probably is going to have some similar tones to CloudCuckoo Land from that way. Oh, Trisha, you loved it. Okay, see, Valerie loved it. Cannot wait. I'm super excited about this. And yeah, I mean, I feel like at one of the independent bookstores I was at, like, they were like flinging it in my face, like, no, you have got to read this. I'm curious, especially going into the new year, how you track your books. Do you track your books? Do you track them on Goodreads? Do you use something else? Judy, this is fun. I'm looking up on my library account to keep track. Hey, see, it's like the same idea comes up at the same time. Yeah, I am curious about that too. I have an author Goodreads account, but I don't ever share reviews or anything on it because I don't want to do that as an author. I'm never going to share reviews of other books. I love to do this and share books that I'm excited about and talk about books that I've read and loved. But I've said this here a million times, like, it's just not my lens to want to review or give other authors feedback or critiques. Because I also know that a lot of times books are subjective. You might pick something up at one point in time and it doesn't resonate, and then you could pick it up a year from now. Or I might not. I could be the only person who doesn't love this book. I doubt it. I'm sure I won't, but you know. Anyway, so back in the day, I used to keep a journal with all the books that I read. And thinking back today when I was doing the post about who ignited my love for reading, my mom had journal after journal after journal, and literally in her beautiful handwriting, notes and notes and notes about all the books that she read over the years. And I've never done that, but I'm starting to feel like maybe this is the year that I need to start tracking somewhere. So yeah. Hi, Adrian. You use Goodreads, but I find it kind of clunky. Yeah, some sort of reading journal, right?
There's an app for that.
There's an app for that? What's the app, Tech Guy?
Well, there's actually a couple different apps.
Okay,
but,
tell us.
There's one called Likewise.
Likewise?
Likewise.
Okay.
We
haven't talked about this. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, because you're not going to use an app.
I probably won't use an app.
Right.
That's true. Also true.
Yeah.
Okay, but Likewise, keep going.
Likewise, and you can track everything, not just books, like TV shows, movies, and podcasts. And then there's another one called Sofa.
Sofa.
A lot of you may refer to that as a couch, but it's called Sofa. And it's the same thing. You can keep track of books, TV, movies, podcasts.
Is that where you're keeping
a
a list of all the movies we want to watch?
Yeah.
On Sofa?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
And then there's social, so you can invite friends or share with family or whatever. So, yeah. Anyway.
Amy, you keep track with a spreadsheet? Okay, that's next level. You have your own spreadsheet by author, what you've read, what you've bought, and a wish list. Okay, I bow down to you, my friend. That is amazing. Ow. Anna Louise has Litzy, Storygraph, and Bookly. Storygraph.
Oh, yeah. Adrian uses Storygraph too.
Okay, all right. I know. All right, I'm going to have to do it. You're going to inspire me to make it happen. Yeah, just because I do feel like, thinking back to 2022, I would love to know exactly how many books I read, because I did give a lot of books away to friends. After I read them, I just don't have so much space. So I try to pass them on.
There's another spreadsheet.
You can export your Goodreads list into your spreadsheet. You have a wish list on your Nook. That's it. Regina, you prefer the written record. I mean, I know. My whole entire desk is just like journals everywhere. I have 4 journals sitting out. This is my one that I'm using right now for the new book. But yeah, okay. I like that idea. And I'm only 1 book into the year so far, so there's no time like the present to start.
There's Bookly, there's Litzy.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people using apps.
But are you using apps just solely to track what you're reading, or are you doing other things on the app? I'm curious about that too. Your mother-in-law has a half stack of your Bake Shop mysteries. Yeah, I know that happens, right? Kathy, you used a journal to track your book for years. Yeah, I did too. And I probably have old ones somewhere. So I also thought that would be interesting to go back and look at what I was reading in my 20s versus now. But I have a long chunk of time where I wasn't tracking. So, Litzy's great. All right. Okay. Libby's your app tied to your library,
Libby's
right?
Great.
Yeah. You've talked about Libby a lot.
I use Libby. Yeah. Yeah. Libby's awesome.
Okay. Lenny, I only track. I don't like anyone telling me what I shouldn't like in a book, right? I know, me too. Although, interestingly, after I finish a book, I will often go onto Goodreads to read reviews. Like, I loved that part of, I'll just show it again because I love this book so much. I love that part of CloudCuckoo Land because there are so many storylines and things happening in this book to track that then I love to go on and see like, oh, what did, not to know like, did you hate this book? People who didn't like this book, like I said, it's mainly just because it's multiple storylines. But I love to hear other readers' perspective on it. I do love that piece of it. Feels a little bit like a digital book club where you're like, oh, I didn't think about that. Oh, if I had thought of that, maybe I would have even had a different experience with the book. If I don't like, Beth, if I don't like a book, I stop it pretty early on too. I gave that up years ago. I used to have to finish every book that I started. The Tech Guy still feels like this about beer. It's not quite the same commitment. But right. As a home brewer, you still, if you drink a bad beer, you feel like you have to finish it, yes?
Yeah, I mean, oops, I made myself go away. Yeah.
Yeah. You're so casual about it.
Well, but I mean, one beer. Like
okay.
if you bought a 6-pack and you hate the beer, you don't have to finish the whole 6-pack. You could give it to somebody, but I don't know. Everything's subjective.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's true. But a book is a bigger commitment than finishing one beer. I would still say if I didn't like a beer, I'm not going to finish it. But yes, I used to feel a lot of pressure about the idea that I had to, like, if I've started a book, I'm going to slog through and finish it. I usually know about a third of the way in. There've been a couple exceptions to that rule. In fact, there were a couple of books last year that I read about a third of the way and I thought about giving up on, and I didn't, and I'm glad that I finished them. They didn't end up being like favorites necessarily, but I did enjoy them. But as a general rule, I would say I usually know a third of the way through a book. My agent and multiple editors that I've worked with over the years have said they can often tell within 5 or 10 pages. If they're getting queries or submissions, they can usually make a decision. Not always, but they can usually tell that early on in the writing if a book is going to capture them or not, which is, and part of that is just based on how many submissions they're getting too, right? They don't have the same luxury of time maybe to give a manuscript that they're not falling in love with a chance. But that's always a little bit intimidating, I think, as writers, where you're like, wait, 5 to 10 pages? Really? Like, okay. Whew. I have 2 other books in the stack that are kind of like bonuses that I don't really know anything about that the tech guy got for me that I'm excited about. And
I don't have titles for
it's
these.
okay because I just pulled them off because my book stack back there is always growing. This one is Even Though I Knew the End by C.L. Polk. It's a noir. And it's really short, which I love. I love weaving in something that's short and thin between something that's bigger. And it sounds like it's kind of a stylish romp about a woman who is trying to save her brother's life. And if she can't, he's going to have to serve an eternity in hell. So it sounds super intriguing and... yeah, just the title, I think, is incredible, Even Though I Knew the End. Has anyone seen this one? Tech Guy, do you remember why you picked this one?
I liked the cover,
Mm-hmm. It's a good
and
cover.
I liked the synopsis.
Yeah.
Sounded very interesting.
It does.
So.
And these are birds. I don't know if you can see that close up, but...
I like it when designers use negative space like that.
I do too. Cool. Yeah, I'm excited. So this is another one that's going to go... I have to get some reading done. I got to get this book done so that I can get some reading done. And then I'm thinking that some of you have probably seen this or are familiar with Jodi's work, but Mad Honey by Jodi Picoult. And I think she co-wrote this one, yes, with Jennifer and Finney Boylan. So I'm excited. I have read some of her other work and enjoyed it. And this one has been on a bunch of the bestseller lists too. Beth, you read it? You loved it? Okay, good. Yay. I can't wait. Awesome. You just finished it. Okay, Mad Honey. Maybe I'm gonna have to bump it up the list. I'm seeing some good stuff. I mean, she's written so much, Jody, and I don't think that I've ever read anything that I haven't enjoyed by her. She's just another brilliant author. I don't know why you picked this one. Maybe just because you knew that I had read a lot of her other stuff. Yeah. It's on your TBR, Melback. Yay! All right, so that's what I have ahead of me. I've got to find an app or get a new journal to track my reads for this year. You're motivating me. I'm maybe going to give up my dog hearing. I'm not going to commit to that. And yeah, I'm gonna get to my stack, and I want to look through the comments and hear everything that you're recommending. Okay. If you like time traveler, I love the Outlander series. Read it all. Read it so many times over. Love them all. I remember my really good friend recommended them to me like when they first came out, and I went to Barnes & Noble to find them because they weren't at my local independent bookstore, and the library hold for them was like a year and a half long or something crazy. And I went to Barnes & Noble and I was looking for them in like, I don't remember if it was like sci-fi or general fiction. And I went up to ask and they're like, no, those are categorized in romance. And I historically have not read a lot of romance. I read rom-coms, but romance is not always like my go-to genre. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm not sure if like romance is for me. And again, so glad I read them. And now I enjoy some romance in my life. Yes. Oh my gosh, Adrian, so good. Anxious People. Yes. It is so good. It's brilliant. I mean, what is there to say about it? But chef's kiss. Absolutely. Anna Louise, you read All My Rage by Saab. I'm not sure if I'm saying that to here. Everyone should read this book. Okay. Oh, good. Yay. I'm adding that to the list. Awesomeness. Okay, so that's what's coming up in my reading life. In terms of book news, I have 2 new books plus some other things in the works for the year. I mean, I'll have more than 2, but for starters, these 2. So the first up is Catch Me If You Candy, which is book 17 of the Bake Shop Mysteries. This is the Halloween extravaganza. So excited for it. It is coming out August 22nd because I wanted it to come out around the time of Halloween so that you can read this while we're sinking into fall and you can have all of the fall vibes. Jules and the crew are going to be making a bevy of delectable treats, Halloween treats. This book starts out, this is based on a friend of mine in Ashland, Wendy, who has a weekly mahjong game with a group of her friends. And in my mind, she's Helen's age and would be kind of in Helen's friend set. So Helen and her friend Wendy and some other women, Thomas's mom Janet, are getting together for a mahjong game afternoon when they find a dragon tile with something spooky attached to it. And then a few days later in the parade, there's a run-in that Jules has with someone in a dragon costume, and then the plot takes off from there. I'm super excited about this one. Cannot wait to do all of the Halloween things, the costumes, the treats, the food. I love Halloween, so I cannot wait. Catch Me If You Candy is coming out in August. And then, Where is the Skull? Oh, our book group had a discussion about it, and it's a debate. Oh, interesting. Where is the skull? I'm not sure. I haven't actually looked at the cover that closely. It's there somewhere, but I'm going to have to look. Okay, Melmac, I'll get back to you because I have to look at it up close and personal. I've only put it out. Yes, it's coming out August of this year, Judy. August of 2023. Yeah. Oh, it says 22 up there.
Well, no, that's the day, August 22nd.
Yes, it's coming
because
out.
It is 2023.
Right, exactly.
It comes out on August 22nd, 2023. Correct.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, and then this is the teaser cover for book number 6 of Sloane. The title's getting put in this week. You can see the skull pretty easily front and center on this one. The title for this book is Beer and Loathing, and it's coming out in mid-March. I'm working on all the final details this week, actually, with the cover artist who just did an amazing job of bringing the ski hill in Leavenworth to life. Super excited about where Sloane's story is going next. I just want to live in this cover right now. I will tell you that the peanut butter brownie bars on the front, I need to bake in the next week or so as I start to like put the finishing touches on that book. And I'm not sad about having to bake them at all. I cannot wait. So this is going to pick up.
I'm not sad either.
Yeah, you're going to have to test them. This is going to pick up where book 5 left off. And if you've read the little short in between, it's all part of the same timeline. You don't have to have read the short. The short is kind of like bonus content, but in the same timeline. So I cannot wait. This is coming out in paperback, no hardcover. Hooray, thank goodness, because it's coming out from Sweet Lemon Press, from our press. And it will come out in ebook and paperback first, and then it will come out in audio too. Yeah, I cannot wait. Peanut butter brownies. Yeah, it's like a pretzel crust in my mind, but I haven't finished it. Sloane has been baking it. That's the other exciting thing, because we're doing this book through Sweet Lemon Press. There are finally going to be recipes included. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I'm so excited.
It will be an ebook too.
Yes, it will also be an ebook, of course. Absolutely. It'll be an ebook, paperback, same size, and then I'm working on audio too, so that'll be great.
We're getting some volunteer.
Melinda, I'll bring some by. Yeah, we'll have a meetup. We'll have some beers, and we'll have some pretzel chocolate brownies, however they turn out. I know, it's rough. It's rough for you, man. And then I have 2 or 3 other projects that I don't have final dates on. As I mentioned, book 18 of the Bake Shop Mysteries is sitting right here. I have just a few chapters left to edit. This beauty will go off to my editor early next week. And then I have, I think, at least 2, if not 3 more projects that are going to release this year. This one will come out early next year. So there's a little bit of a pushback between the Bake Shop usually comes out in December and then June, but because of the Halloween book, the pub schedule is changing a little bit. It'll come out in August, and then book 18 is going to come out in March of 23. I have been sketching out a pretty solid draft for a sequel to Lost Coast. I have a serial project that I want to work on, hopefully with us again, and maybe in a different format, but where we would be doing some writing together. And then I have a holiday rom-com that I'm hoping is going to be done and ready to go by later this year. So there's going to be a lot of good stuff coming. Cannot wait. Yeah, let's see. More books from you, more books from you. Next up in 2 weeks, same time, same place, we're going to have my friend Tamara Lush here. It's going to be the launch of her new book, and we are going to talk specifically about new reading platforms that you can find and that you might want to have in your life for the new year, much like I'm not going to dog ear. And much like I am actually probably going to find some tracking option. So more of that to come with Tamara, and we'll also just celebrate her book and all that good stuff. So yeah. You want a book on your live stream? No, yes, I got it. I emailed you back. We are just back this week. So as I mentioned on the last live, we're not sending out giveaways until this next week because we have been on the road and traveling. Is there going to be more this time? It's murder. I don't know. We'll have to see. So many projects. but maybe. Milmac, Tamara's Coffee Lover series is so great. They're so funny. All of her books are set in Florida. And it's super fun for me because you can't get much different than Florida and the Pacific Northwest. So I feel like I'm traveling there when I read her stuff, and it's just, she captures Florida and the quirkiness of Florida so well. Plus then, you just want to be on the beach with a beautiful iced oat latte and something delicious. Yeah. Anyway, I hope that your new year is off to some great reads. I cannot wait to hear what you think if you try anything in my stack, and to get through any suggestions that you tossed out at me tonight that I probably missed through the comments. And just as always, thank you for being such a light in my life. And we'll see you in a couple weeks. Happy reading.